Hello and welcome back to The Slaughter, everybody. Welcome back to Killing Floor 3, where today we have quite a bit to talk about since there has been a new patch to Killing Floor 3, adding 3 new weapons, the M14, the AK, and the Double Barrel. We'll talk about those just in a second. First thing that we should probably go over is the new changes to the perks, and now there is no longer a class specialization system. You can pick whatever person you would like to go with whatever class you would like. So if you really like Devlin here, you could pick something like Commando or her Firebug. Go back to Engineer, Sharpshooter, Ninja, Medic. Any of the classes, this will continue, I'm assuming, with every other character that gets added, as well as every class that gets added, since we are getting Gunslinger sometime in the future. This is a change that everybody wanted since Killing Floor 3 originally was even announced. Nobody really liked the idea of specialists, myself included. I didn't really think that was a great idea, because what if I really don't like one of the characters and I would like to play them? I don't think the characters are terrible in Killing Floor 3, but now that you can actually just stick with a character that you like, I think that is a really big improvement. Plus, it allows you to put even more characters in here and put even more skins in here, so I don't know why it wasn't added in the first place. Regardless, you'll still have all of the same upgrades with this character, whichever class that you're playing, although the specific class gadgets can look a little bit strange in other characters' hands. This really depends from class to class as to who you're seeing this with, but in particular, like Ninja's grappling hook, where it's usually attached to his arm and then he shoots it out. Now it's more like a pistol grappling hook if you put it on anybody else. And it's the same thing for like Sharpshooter's wrist-mounted dart that she shoots out. So not really my favorite way that they could have implemented this, but at least you get to play as everybody, so that is a big advantage. Hopefully that gets kind of ironed out in the future, or that just becomes kind of the standard in the future, because it does look a little bit strange when it's not like the character that it was really like assigned to. At least for those particular types. Commando's drone looks pretty normal. Same thing goes with like Engineer's sound box thing, or Firebug's fire explosion, or Medic's stand that they put down, since all of those are just kind of like extra equipment that your person just pulls out of nowhere anyway. It doesn't really look weird on anybody else. Now let's go over each of the weapons. The very first one is the MKR-350. This is the AK, and this is definitely my favorite looking assault rifle out of all the assault rifles, because they made it look like an assault rifle. All the other ones in this game look a little bit cursed. They did decide to go back to like the Killing Floor 2 way that they made weapons, which is good, although it does look a little bit different with the contrast between the weapons. The AK is a tier 3 weapon, meaning that you can't grab it right away. You're still going to need to start out with either the tier 1 or the tier 2 rifle. If you want to be playing as Commando, then you can build your way up to it. The AK itself is a pretty decent rifle. The sights look good, it sounds good, it has good inspect animations, it has a pretty satisfying reload. It fits the bill for a decent assault rifle, and for stat wise, it's pretty comparable to the other assault rifles. Same thing goes with rate of fire. There's nothing really terrible about it. There are some cool attachments that you can put on the AK. There's pretty standard ones, like changing out the bullets, putting a compensator or a suppressor on here, having a foregrip, kind of the standard stuff that they were putting on most of the weapons. There are some kind of unique ones here, like I like the dual mags that you can put on the AK. That is a really cool option, although I do kind of wish you could get an alternative skin for this, where it is just like the AK mags with duct tape around it. I think that would sell it a little bit more. I just kind of like that look a little bit more when it's a weapon upgrade quite like this. And for those who like the AK in Killing Floor 2, you can also put the multi-burst fire mode on this, so that you can switch it to 3-round burst. That was a bonus in Killing Floor 2, since it was pretty much the only weapon in Killing Floor 2 that actually had a higher rate of fire and burst fire than it did in the standard rate of fire. Overall, I found the AK to be perfectly fine. It felt like pretty much one of the other assault rifles. The main downside with like Commando is that assault rifles aren't really necessary for them, because everything is just cheaper for them, so they can buy even stronger weapons. But when I was using this on Commando, it felt fine. Originally, I was using actually all these weapons on Ninja, because I wanted to see how good they were like off class, and the AK felt perfectly fine for clearing up small Zeds and okay for killing medium Zeds. Against big Zeds, you can kill them, but it does take quite a lot of bullets, pretty much the same way with all the assault rifles. Next up, we have the M14. This is Sharpshooter's rifle. This is also a tier 3 weapon, so you can't really start out with this. You are going to buy into it, and this is basically the M14 from Killing Floor 2, which was a lot of people's favorite weapon, and it's pretty strong here. This does do good damage at 230. That's not the most out of the damages, but it does hold 20 rounds, and it's semi-auto. You can spam this one out pretty fast. As for interesting options, it does actually get the new match grade ammo, which I have yet to try, but this does do sound wave damage. I'm not sure why that's the case, but it does. Another damage type is kind of good, and switching damage types to put on different classes is actually kind of fun in this game, so that is a bonus. The cold ammo I found to be kind of the best with this, because you can spam it out so quickly that you can usually freeze larger Zeds, and since it does decent damage, you're not really giving up too much for just freezing stuff. On top of this, you can actually give it like a drum mag to where it goes from holding 20 rounds up to 45 rounds. It's a pretty big increase. And then switching into the full auto receiver could be really fun. I have yet to put a full auto receiver on here and the drum mag and see how that goes. It's going to be kind of expensive, but kind of a cool option that you can do with the M14, especially if you want to make it into the ice M14 and then just kind of mag dump this into big enemies to freeze them and sort of play more of a supportive role as like sharpshooter. You could also equip this to other classes, like I imagine that'd be pretty decent on medic too, if you wanted to go with your primary medic weapon for actually healing people, then swap to this to potentially just spam down something big so that it can freeze so other teammates can beat up on it a whole lot easier. I don't know if that would really be the best option for medic, but it would be kind of a fun option. You'd probably still be better off going with like the grenade launcher loaded with ice nades, but at least you do have that option overall. And then the last weapon, and without a doubt the coolest weapon, we've got the Double Barrel Boomstick back in this game, and this one is called the Shrike Dual Defender, I think is how you say it. Either way, it's the Boomstick. And the Boomstick feels amazing. It is by far the best weapon that they've added, and probably my favorite weapon in the game right now. The Boomstick's actually pretty much a tier 1, tier 2 weapon. It costs $1,800 if you want to buy it normally, so it's very affordable. If you're playing Engineer or just anybody that you want to go with the Boomstick right away, you can. That is a really, really good thing, and it does do really good damage. 700 damage per shot with 1400 damage if you fire out both barrels. This one can fire out both barrels the same way you could in Killing Floor 2. However, this one can't fling you away. I tried that. I tried jumping over stuff with it. Sadly, they didn't implement that into the game. Missed opportunity in my opinion. That was one of the funnest things that you could do in Killing Floor 2. But at least you can fire out both barrels. Holds 2 rounds, and they gave it 100 extra ammo in this, which feels like a lot for the double barrel, especially going from what it was in Killing Floor 2 at about half this amount. Now, there is more enemies in Killing Floor 3, but still, you have plenty of ammo with this. Spread is pretty good with this. Damage is very nice. Reload is pretty satisfying, and animations are pretty satisfying. Animations are really satisfying for each of these weapons. They did do a good job there. This one also sounds pretty good, too. The more interesting part for this gun in particular, though, is that since it's so strong, you can kind of build it quite a few different ways, and it does have some interesting mods, particularly in like the ammo. I found that if you wanted to take this on like Firebug and load it with the nano thermite rounds, it actually does really well. It does a lot of damage per shot and it burns stuff, so that's good. And even better than that was putting the flechette rounds into this and taking it on a ninja, since that just converts all of your damage over to cut damage, and ninja has so many bonuses from that. So you just do so much damage per second thanks to this. It also gives you extra penetration, so you can punch through multiple enemies with this, even more so with some other options you can put on this. You can also change up the barrels on this, where you can have an extended barrel, since this is kind of a sawed down shotgun, kind of cut down shotgun. It's not fully sawed off, but it is a shorter barrel. You can go with the extended barrel if you want more accuracy and more penetration, or you can swap this over to be the Doomstick from Killing Floor 2 and have it have 4 barrels on it. That's pretty good. It does take longer to reload then, and if you do the secondary fire, you do fire out all 4 barrels, although sometimes, weirdly enough, it doesn't seem to fire out all 4 barrels at once. It kind of fires out like 2 and then 2. Usually it's so fast that it doesn't matter though, and that's not even all the time. Sometimes it does seem to fire out like all 4 barrels at once. Quad barrel does feel pretty good because you can fire this 1 barrel at a time too. Makes it feel a whole lot more consistent for just running and gunning than the standard double barrel. And if you fully upgrade one of these, the reload speed does get a whole lot better than what it was. You can put sights on this. I think that looks pretty cursed on a double barrel, so I never put sights on it, even though technically you're getting extra bonuses from it. I just don't like it. I'm not going to be putting sights on my double barrel. I like the iron sights on it. They're fine. And then finally, there's a couple different receivers you can throw on this to get you yourself like better penetration, better accuracy, or better recoil. I found that the recoil reduction mixed with the quad barrel was actually really good. It makes it really easy to keep on target, but I haven't tried out the others yet. This one was by far my favorite weapon. You can also do this to bosses when you're playing ninja. My ninja is maxed out. He does do a lot of damage, but still, it seems kind of crazy that the double barrel works so well. It also just pairs so well with ninja anyway, since like this is more of a close range option, even though it still has decent range. But the double barrel, or in this case the quad barrel, really benefits from being right up next to something. And ninja can get right up next to something really quickly and has stuns on top of that. So that kind of brings us to the point of, is Killing Floor 3 really worth getting right now? I get this question a lot whenever I stream this game, and people are always wondering. It is still a pretty fun game if you want to be playing with friends. It can be a fun game with the gameplay loop where you just keep killing Zeds. It's very similar to like Killing Floor 2. If you enjoyed that, then you might enjoy this. There is still some glaring issues with this. They did seem to fix quite a few of the bugs that were causing like performance issues, which is nice. So that's not such a big deal. So for the full price of this, still being at $40, I would say it really depends. If you like Killing Floor 2 a lot, you know, check it out. If you like Killing Floor 1 as well, maybe check it out then. It might be worth it to you. If you're still on the fence about this, I don't think it's really going to hurt you to wait a couple more months, wait for this to go on sale, maybe pick it up at like 20, 25 bucks. I imagine around Christmas it's going to drop anyway, and then, you know, you're probably going to have a decent game there. As well as towards the end of the year, I believe is when we're getting the second update to this, which is going to be adding like new maps and new features to the game. So there might be a whole lot more down the road then, and I believe either early next year or mid-time next year, we are going to be getting like Gunslinger, so new class, I'm assuming probably a new character to go along with it, and then we're also getting all of their new weapons, which might be a whole lot more fun. Either way, tell me your thoughts on the new Killing Floor 3 update. How have you been enjoying it? Are you looking forward to the game? Are you planning on grabbing it? Either way, you guys take care, have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everybody!